This is Jonas. He doesn't care about the science. He's all about the money.
I am going to prove you wrong by converting your civilization.
Apparently, this portioning was actually supposed to be for like a family of 4, but you know how often a lot of portioning is. It's like small enough. It's like yeah, I could easily eat 2 portions myself. Kind of thing. Pizza's designed to be shared among 8 people. It's like, yeah, right. It's me and maybe one other person's eating this pizza.
Yeah.
So, but still, I mean, the point is that yeah, I ate both of our.
A Papa John's large is really meant for solo eating.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
See if you can pick up on this. What did you eat, Tupper there? Do it. Come on, you know what joke I'm doing.
Tupperware?
You ate Tupperware in there? I'm being really dumb. So, hey, guess what I did?
What did you do?
I turned my front porch into a big, like, sauna area with
you sent me some
hot
pictures
tub and privacy screen and a frame around the hot tub to put drinks, and I hung lights. And I'm going to convince Jessica to let me put a TV out there, and then we're just going to be like snooty, like people. We'd be like, "Oh, look how rich we are!" Ooh. And then we'll go into our trailer, and it's just like a normal trailer with like wood.
I want the outside of your porch to be exactly like rich Biff Tannen's apartment pad place from Back to the Future 2, where he's got the in-ground hot tub and he's watching Fistful of Dollars. He's like, the guy's brilliant.
What I always found it funny that there's like, I can't remember what it is. There's like one part where this happens in a few different films that I've seen where the bad guy has one moment of like humanness in him, and then it like goes away for the rest of the movie and he's still bad. And Biff has one in the second Back to the Future. There's another one in the movie Holes. If you remember the movie Holes.
I don't remember the movie Holes. I saw it, but I don't remember it.
So like Shia LaBeouf and his buddy are like in trouble, and then the guy with the gun like saves them. I think it's John Voight, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
And he like saves them. It's like a moment where he like kind of is being nice. There's 2 others that I want to talk about real quick. One is The Faculty from the 90s. If you remember that, it's where all of the aliens are going to take over the high school, and Elijah Wood is the main character. Do you guys know this one? Hello?
Yes.
Vaguely.
Right. No one has mentioned it in 1,000 years, but yes.
I know. So right. So in The Faculty, Elijah Wood tries to sneak out of his house after being yelled at by his parents because he tells them there's aliens taking over the school and they don't believe him. He falls off of like the second floor of his house trying to get out the window, and the teachers that have been taken over by the aliens are there about to grab him. And then his dad is like there, and he's like, "What are you doing outside?" And he's like, "The faculty were there." And then the dad looks for a moment and is like believing him, and he goes, "Get in the house," and he kind of like protects him. And I'm like, "Oh, there's one moment where he's nice." And then let me see, the final one is Beetlejuice. Do you remember in Beetlejuice, Lydia is talking to him, and he's like, "If you could just say my name and let me out, I can help you with that." And she goes, "I want in." And then he looks at her and he goes, "Why?" For like a minute, and you're like, "Oh, he's human." Then he's like, "Forget about that. Just say my name and get out of here." It's the small human parts of the evil people that make me stop and hesitate for a moment, like Biff in Back to the Future Part 2 in that one part.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think he's like up in the loft, and he tells him something about like the almanac, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I know who you are." All right, so okay. Let's get, man, it's been a little bit since we've played this game. I now remember everything.
I'm trying to remember what exactly
we're doing. But should we start with our standard intro though?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm Zach.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Bob.
And welcome to the end of the world.
The house
Something like that.
End of the world, fun times, end times,
apocalypse mode.
Game.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I want to recap for everybody who may have just been now tuning into our game, like Game-a-thon. So Bob has the main religion that we all should follow, but I have decided
the Yahweh tree.
But I have decided to start my own religion, and out of character, it wasn't my choice to do this. But in character, so out of character, my civilization automatically makes a great profit as when the last one is like ready to like be taken. It automatically lets mine be the last one, and so it let me be a religion, and because of that, I've decided to be the sort of like antagonist for this session and possibly for later, and try and like stop and try and be the like Jews, like the God's people in the desert right after like Moses does his thing.
The golden calf.
I'm going to start believing in the golden calf for a while, and Bob's going to have to figure out how to stop that.
Yeah. So about that, I in between recordings, I did a small amount of research, and the only way to eliminate another religion is within the game of Civilization 6 is to take over the holy city and eradicate it from there.
Yes, I know. And
and because we're on the same team, I can't declare war on you. I cannot take over your city.
No, you can. You can. No.
No. I can't.
Conversion does. Hold on, Bob. Conversion does not declare war and isn't considered a
I'm not talking about conversion. I mean, you literally have to take over ownership of the city, put an apostle in there, and eradicate the
I played this game.
The heretic.
I promise
yes.
it's not true.
Yes.
I think so, Bob. You can.
I can convert cities, but I cannot eradicate a religion.
You can't
without
eradicate
controlling
it, no. But you can win a religious victory without eradicating the religion.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Bob, that's not true.
No, it is true. It is true.
I've never seen it happen any other way, other than like you have to have the military defeat.
Yeah,
I don't want to fight with you on a live stream, but Bob, it's not true. I've played over like 1,000 hours of this game with Pete.
Yeah, and I put in about 850 hours. Yes,
and I have completely eradicated a religion just by converting the city. Once you convert the city, you can't. Hold on, Bob. Just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Once you convert the last city that is of that religion and it turns into your religion, I can no longer make apostles or missionaries of that religion. Any apostle or missionary I make after that is your religion.
No, that part is true, but it does not eradicate the religion. It's the dominant religion, but you cannot eradicate. There will always be pressure.
There'll still be
always be religious pressure coming from that city, growing out of that city, because it is the holy city for that religion. What you're saying is accurate, but it does not eradicate it. It simply
you can oppress them. But the tighter your grip is, Tarkin, the more systems will slip through your fingers.
I agree. That's true. That's exactly what what Zach said just then. All right, I'm making a missionary. Bob, you know what I'm going to do now that you fought me on this? I am going to prove you wrong by converting your civilization. Then you will see the error of your ways. This is the end times, after all. It's not like Satan doesn't get to win for 1,000 years.
It is the time where both forces are going to play for keeps. That's true. Although Satan has to know that he's going to go down eventually.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to everybody who's listening that me and Bob had a disagreement. We're going to let the game.
We can disagree. That's fine. It's a free country, Colin. You're allowed to be wrong.
You know what? You know what? Moses has been up on that mountain a little too long, and I think that he's just lying. And I think we should make our own statue. Who is Bob? Okay, so let me see. the seal judgments, jungle outreach. You know what? These all sound like kind of pressuring, like judgy things, and I don't like it.
Oh, is Bob like the judgmental religion? Is that what we're going with? That golden calf just affirms you. Like, you can do whatever you want with the golden calf. Yeah.
You really can. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh, man.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'm about to bring over some archers. You better watch your...
I mean, you can try. We're on the same team. Like the way we set up the game, I believe the game rules will state that we can't even even declare war on each other.
If only. If only. You know what's funny is that Germany and Persia both seem to really appreciate what I'm doing. They're buddies with me. Okay, so you guys just watch out. I'll make my own army with an army within an army. See, this is what it means to be a good bad guy. You got to role play. You got to really.
As long as there's a scene where it shows a little bit of humanity, that's what I want to see.
Yeah. So at one point, Bob will be like, "Colin, you've changed into something you're not supposed to be," and I'll be like, "You're wrong." And I'll like look into your eyes for a minute. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if my phone is charged.
Okay, I need to find a natural wonder somewhere on the map.
So you can walk an apostle next to it and get that bonus.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the game mechanics, when you go to upgrade an apostle, you can actually promote them, and in that process, if you can. Sometimes a promotion will allow you to gain the benefit of gaining 3 extra conversion charges if you can move them next to a natural wonder. So
you
something
could say,
like,
"Oh, God's creation."
Yeah. Yep.
And then you're like, you're inspired.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what happens in the Bible. I want to talk about this. When competing religions come up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the Bible, that's a really interesting situation, depending on which era you're referring to and under what context.
Yeah. Because you could say that there's the situations where a religion is supposed to be eradicated, and God uses his people to kind of clean house.
Like in 1 Samuel. Yep. Yeah. Which is what you find a lot in 1 Samuel is a good example of that.
Joshua.
The prophets. Mm-hmm. Joshua is another great example of that.
In Jeremiah 7, let me read you a little something from Jeremiah 7 here. It says, starting in verse 5, "If you truly amend of your ways and your deeds, if you truly execute justice one with another, if you do not oppress the sojourner, the fatherless, or the widow, or shed innocent blood in this place, if you do not go after other gods to your own harm, then I will let you dwell in this place, in the land that I gave of old to your fathers forever." Verse 8 says, "Behold, you trust in deceptive words to no avail." This person sounds smart, whoever they're talking about. "Will you steal, murder, commit adultery, swear falsely, make offerings to Baal, and go after other gods that you have not known? And then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, 'We are delivered,' only to go on doing all these abominations?" These guys sound really smart to me. "Has this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, I myself have seen it."
That sounds kind of familiar.
Going out of my place that was in Shiloh, where I made my name dwell at first. See what I did to it because of the evil of my people Israel. That's interesting grammar there. All right, so basically what they're saying is, yes, you should just go ahead and let yourself believe in something like new and interesting and just see where that takes you. And I agree. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert my second city to the Golden Calf. and to see where that takes me.
Oh,
and it
no.
looks like it already has taken me to some good places.
And that false religion, one could say, and it gets everywhere.
Listen, I remember the 10 Commandments movie when they decide to make that statue to the golden calf.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just thinking to myself, like, wow, that's a solid gold statue. That's pretty neat. Maybe I should do that in a Civ game sometime soon. And then here we are.
Good idea. I'm going to get converted to Zoroastrianism at some point. Because my civilization over here...
You're a bigger fish to fry than me right now, okay?
My civilization over here is more neutral. I don't have the ability to form my own religion, but I get to keep the bonuses of my pantheon belief, as well as whatever religion comes. So it looks like it's competing interests between Bob's religion and Zoroastrianism, which the Persians started.
Well, I mean, until I get over there.
That's true. We could
to understand that
my people would worship a golden calf. I mean, we're free enterprise worshipers over here.
Wow.
Listen. Bob, there's going to be 144,000 left. All right? Okay? Get used to the idea.
Hey, I got the mausoleum of Helicarnassus.
All right, I'm making the Kilwa Kisiwani.
That's a good one. That has something to do with envoys, right?
Yes, it allows me to make buddy friendships with the
+3 envoys. State. When you're the suzerain of a city-state, the city receives 15% boost to the type bonuses. I see what you're doing. I see where you're going.
See where I'm going there?
Kinda. Right, Not really, but yeah.
All right, well, not everybody sees
I need some science up in here.
All right. I guess I'll start trading to someone who actually appreciates it. I'm gonna trade to Volcanic View because they don't have a main religion yet, and maybe I can sway them.
It's possible. Although the Zoroastrians are coming.
Skirmisher right on top of Yahweh's tree, Apostle, and just say, "Hey, listen, buddy, I'm a highwayman. I might just steal something from you. You don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting over here."
Are you Willie Nelson?
Mind your P's. Mind your P's and Q's.
I was a highwayman.
Yeah, that's right. Richmond, Kentucky is really just a booming metropolis.
Apparently, Richmond, Kentucky is the epicenter of idolatry.
Ever since we lost that Richmond Mall, we've decided to put in the Richmond Center and just go nuts.
Wow.
We said we've had a recession. That Richmond Mall movie theater just went under. What can we do about it? I know. We'll move everything over to the other side of town, right near the interstate, and put a movie theater there. Golden Calf. Millions of dollars.
Is this Lake Reba over here next to Richmond? It doesn't really have like a name, but that's, seems
that
to make
little
sense.
tiny lake right there? Yes, next to Harat Kiabar.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you mean the pinnacles?
Yeah, so we got Richmond, I guess Gamera because of the turtles.
Yes.
Could be Berea. And then Madascus instead of Damascus could be Lexington, technically.
Yeah. There you go.
I should just name this. You know what? I'm changing my names. I'm making them all places around Richmond.
Don't forget, like, Waco and, like,
hold on.
Irvin.
Lexington. Okay. So this is now Lexington. I guess this will have to somehow be bigger than Richmond.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's possible. We're gonna try and make that work. And then let's see. We're gonna make. Ooh, what's to the left of Richmond? Nicholasville.
If you're talking what's west of Richmond, yes, Nicholasville is.
It'd be west. It'd also be kind of up.
Yeah.
What about like
yes, slightly northwest, but but very west.
What's more southwest, like Danville, maybe?
Danville is a little bit on the southwest. I think Lancaster is also in there, but Lancaster might be too small. Lancaster is basically a single road that goes through a bunch of.
Does Lancaster have a volcano and a holy site?
Not that I'm aware of. That would be an interesting perspective on Lancaster.
So I'll call it Lancaster. That's fine.
Yeah,
and
they're known for their crab trade.
I guess we call it Gamma Berea, and we're just gonna roll on this.
There you go. That works.
everywhere I go, I'm gonna change it to places around Richmond. That'll be fun. All right, so
yeah. Danville slightly southwest. Lancaster's also southwest. Harrodsburg is due west.
Interesting.
It's actually due west of Richmond. Nicholsville is obviously northwest.
North by northwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far is the east from the west? I don't know because I'm not a Christian anymore.
We need Jesus to show you just how far the east is from the west.
I think you're right, but my people don't know this, so Bob needs to step it up because I'm tyrannical.
That is a true statement. There are a few statements as true as that one right there.
Thank you, Bob. All right, we get it.
You're welcome.
Right?
Yeah, I do what I can.
Because Berea is very Catholic, which is very sad, and so that one's, you know what? No one's even worried about the Catholicism spread down here.
That's true. Berea is Catholic.
Germany will soon see the truth of the golden calf religion, so that'll be fun.
Let's see. Well, let me do that. Can't do that. Okay, so I'll leave that there. So, Colin.
Yeah.
I think given our current stance, maybe we should talk about how we love our enemies.
What
that kind of looks
segue.
like.
Okay. So me and Zach have been kind of talking about this because I have a song that I've been I've written the music for it, but I haven't really put the lyrics together, and that's how I used to write music. I have tried to step away from that, and so I talked with Zach about this idea that there are people in the world who want to oppress you, who hate you, who and it could be from a bunch of different reasons. I was just saying, like, there's a lot of people that really do not like Christians right now, and and so the question arises: how can you love people that like feel that way about you? And then it almost feels like it's unfair because you are choosing the high road to love them,
but it's not going to be returned. Like,
right?
I thought about like, things that like values that I have, like Christianity, and then other things too. And a lot of those things, like, I'm not always very vocal about because, let's face it, social media can just be like a breeding ground for conflict.
Yeah,
I do feel it's important to share the gospel, but then there's like other things that it's like, well, if you want to keep, a political opinion or something like that to yourself, I don't really have an issue with that. But then you kind of end up with this situation where that people might oppose like something that you think, and like to the point to where like people might even hate you for it. And it's like, how many people hate you without them maybe even realizing it because they know they hate people like on your certain side of things or whatever. And so then you just kind of like wonder like, well, I know I'm not supposed to return that hatred, Like Jesus calls us to love people, even our enemies, but it's hard because it's like, you're not going to get love in return. Like, people who don't know Jesus, like you might just get straight up hatred from them. And so, I think it really is, grace that we have to rely on.
We're definitely finding out more and more, not just with the idea of religion, but just ideas in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't align with every single thought process that I have, then you are one of the worst people on the planet.
Yeah.
And there's no sense of gray area. There's no sense of independence. We claim independence, but the idea is if your independence expresses anything against that goes against mine in any way, shape, or form, even if it's just on this one very minute detail, then you're obviously evil. You're obviously not one of me. You're obviously my enemy.
And they're different from us. So they must be evil.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Bethany has expressed an opinion recently as a result of what's happened with her with her family, and so, but not really express it like you should be doing this, but as much as, hey, here's some information that is related to my life because of what's happened to my father, and she's actually received messages that has pushed her to literal tears. Like bawling her eyes out because of the people did not like the way she was expressing her viewpoints. She wasn't really commanding anybody or getting on anyone. Just says, here's information, to consider. And now she's being treated as an evil individual simply because she holds a particular idea and nothing more. It's not even about religion. It's not about her faith. It's just it's an idea about current events, and that makes her evil apparently.
So
we're all evil.
Scripture. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong about that. Definitely. I mean, on the scale of the eyes of God, absolutely. But it's just it's been frustrating from just that there can be no dissonance from the uniformed thought process of you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I can't find the right words, but you know what I'm trying to say.
So let me read some scripture because this is rife throughout the Bible here, even in the Old Testament, the time of Jesus, and the New Testament and beyond. So, one of the fun ones that I love is actually in Proverbs, but then gets referenced by Paul in Romans. So let me make sure I think it's Romans. Maybe I'm wrong. 1 second. Let me make sure. Yes. Okay. So in Proverbs 25, verses 21 and 22, it says, if your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. And if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. So Jake, our pastor,
this is one of Colin's favorite verses of all time.
He likes to weaponize it.
Here's the reason why. Well, here's I'm weaponizing it.
Just launch those calls.
Here's the reason why I like this one though, because it gives you like what will happen as opposed to just telling you what to do.
Yeah.
So think about the idea of burning hot coals on someone's head. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like? So, for me, what it looks like is the person who hates you will feel like their head is simmering, but they won't know what to do about it. Do you get what I mean?
They maybe don't understand why somebody's been kind to them, that they've been so unkind to.
That's right. Well,
it breaks down the conflict.
So then in Romans, Paul kind of expands upon this a little. He says, beloved, never avenge yourself, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. To the contrary, if an enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. For by doing so, you will heap burning coals on his head. do not become overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
Right.
So he expands and says, like, the trick is not to give in to not to play the evil's like game, and to then turn. They a lot of people try and say that what that means is like turn the other cheek, but that's not really true. Turning the other cheek is really interesting. We should do an episode on that sometime about like what that really means to do that. But in general, what I think burning hot coals means is that like the person may have like burning hatred, but that burning hatred has nowhere to go when you return the hatred with kindness.
Yeah,
it's like you don't have any energy to do anything.
It's almost like the burning coals on their head is from themselves. Because
in a lot of ways, I think you're right.
They're the ones that have that anger that just seethes. But yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Jesus did. The very people who were killing him, he was praying for them right then and there. And he told his disciples, he told Peter at the end of John, he said, like, when you were young, you went where you wanted to, but when you're old, you're going to be led by the hands, like, you're going to be oppressed.
When you were young, you did like what young people do, which is dumb, but now that you're an adult, you're like, you should stop being dumb all the time.
Stop being dumb all the time and just, like, realize that you're going to be persecuted. And, of course, Peter was killed.
Look at the little baby over here.
Look at the little baby.
That'd be hilarious if he was like, when you were young, you did childish things like a little baby. What are you, still a baby? Or are you an adult now?
What are you,
baby?
You loser?
Hey, no, baby.
Big baby bottle.
Babies.
Oh, yeah. They're babies. Oh.
Mama.
The Shredder. Mama. Does the Shredder ever show like a bit of humanity? I'm trying to remember. Very few. It's very rare.
I think he doesn't. I think he constantly has hate in his heart.
He is truly a monster every moment he's on film. And so he's probably one of those people that's very, very hard to love. Imagine if the Ninja Turtles tried to show him the grace of Jesus Christ.
Here's a good one. Here's a perfect example of what we're talking about, okay?
Okay.
I consider this to be such a profound scene and everyone forgets about it. So I'm going to talk about it now. So I think I might have brought this up during our Christmas movies time period.
Yeah.
But the claymation Santa Claus film.
Yes.
There is a profound lesson that occurs in that film, even though it's really crazy and like Dutch and this Japanese
crazy
stuff.
Oh, those crazy Dutch.
I think it's got Dutch animation, Japanese writing, and a bunch of other stuff just mixed all together. So anyway, I looked up a thing about it before. So, okay, in the movie, it's Meisterburger who hates the toys and stuff, and Kris Kringle is like a young redheaded guy with like a penguin friend and all this stuff, and he like gets in trouble with the German dude and gets like run out of town. Ends up in the forest with Jack Frost, who is like an ice elemental, like old man wizard guy, who can like turn into like an icicle monster. And so the first time he scares the crap out of Kris Kringle, and he goes like running away. So it reminds me of, I'm not sure if there's a good biblical comparison, but he runs away like fearful for his life. And then instead of avoiding that area, he comes back after he has established himself as like the toy maker. After he's given all the kids toys and like spread joy, and he found his like, girlfriend and stuff. He goes back to the woods, and Jack Frost is like, "I told you never to return." And he's like, "Oh, that's okay. I can leave, but first, I have something for you." And he's like, "For me? What is it you have for me?" And he's like, "I brought you a toy. It's a choo-choo." And he's
choo-choo train.
He says, "A choo-choo? no one ever given me a choo-choo before. And then he's like holding it, and then you see his like his snow melts around his body, and he becomes like loving. Like he realizes he's been like a cold-hearted man, and he decides to like turn over a new leaf, but he doesn't know how. And so at that point, Kris Kringle teaches him how to start living his life better by singing "Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor." Nice. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what a beautiful picture of showing kindness to an enemy. Like he could have, he not only could have like never came back, but he could have just like avoided him. Like he could have just like been like, oh well, I won't go that way in the woods. But the moral was that he decided to like pursue this guy and bring him a present, which to me is a beautiful message. Yeah. So anyway,
and it's
I don't know if there's a biblical comparison to.
Well, they're the Good Samaritan.
Well, of course, the Good Samaritan. Like, everybody passes on the road except for.
Not only that, but the people who passed by this guy on the road are all the people that like the audience would have expected to be the ones that would stop and help. Like there's a priest, I think, and a teacher, and all these like really respected, people that are known for their religious clout or whatever. And
yes, but at the same time,
the Samaritan's the guy who stops, and he's the one that they would have thought were unclean,
Yeah. Well, but at the same time, a lot of those individuals you would also you would expect them to kind of help, but also they've got good reasons to not stop. For example, a priest cannot touch a dead body, and so is the man dead? It's hard to say. He can't tell from where he is, and so he played it safe by staying on the other side of the road. I forget. I have to do some research to relook it up, but there are reasons why the other ones also did not stop.
They all had excuses,
good cultural reasons. Yeah, exactly. But that's exactly right. They all had excuses. They all had their reasons, but in the end, they're just merely excuses to not do the right thing.
Right. Yeah. So that proactive goodness. It's not just not hating, because the opposite of love a lot of times is indifference, more so even than hatred.
Hate and love are very close to each other, weirdly enough.
They're both giving you. You're both kind of renting space out inside your head.
A lot of it is extreme feelings of like obsession.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can kind of like. You could compare some of the, like, if you said like, why do you hate this person? It's like, oh, there's, it's like I'm thinking about them all the time. They're just like always on my mind. Like, it's like, is that because you like them? No, I freaking hate the guy.
Indifference is almost worse.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's like you not caring at all. I don't know necessarily that is explicitly biblical, but I think it's true.
I could see that. I could see that there's a lot of good evidence for that.
It's kind of like do you remember that video where was it? I think it was Penn Jillette, and he was talking about the guy who shared the gospel with him.
Yes.
And
yes.
So what's
part of that always sticks with me is the fact that he said, "How much do you have to hate somebody to know that they could spend eternity in hell and not share with them?" And so
not try to save them.
Yeah, and so it's almost kind of like an indifference if you don't share with people, and that's almost like hatred, really.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that for those of you who don't know, Penn Jillette is an atheist. He is a full-fledged atheist. I do not believe there is a God at all, and yet he has enough understanding to recognize that it makes sense for someone who believes in the existence of a hell to try to keep others out of it. Yeah. And it's an act of love to try to keep others out of it.
And an act of hatred to be indifferent.
Yep.
So we're allies and there's a vote.
Yes, what should we vote
for?
Do
you guys want to what my grandma calls this kibitzing, and that's where you just like cheat and talk to each other and like plan, even though you're not supposed to.
Okay.
So if you want, I say that since we all kind of have stuff that has water, I say that we all do harbor for buildings, so we can build lighthouses.
100% production towards buildings in the harbor.
Okay, I actually don't have any harbors yet, but I can definitely work towards getting a harbor district up.
I'm cool with that.
So, okay.
Yeah, you often don't want to. You don't want to vote for one that you already have all the buildings for, because by the time the vote comes back around, you haven't used it at all. All right, so then it says select an outcome. Do we want to do a certain?
What type of city states would you prefer to have? Sending trade routes to a city? I honestly don't know where my trade routes are going to right now.
We could do religious and continue to duke this out. Get back to the point of the
religious city states.
What it's essentially saying is when you trade with a city state of this type, you'll get extra crap. So
okay, we don't. I actually went back. We don't have any religious city states that we have found.
Let's do trade. There's like 2 or 3 economics.
Yeah, so that's Zanzibar and Hunza are the two that we would want to
state
focus.
If we all succeed and like get our votes, then we get diplomatic points just for getting the vote right.
Are other victory types turned on?
No.
Okay, so it's only
domination
victory.
and religious.
Okay,
so
that's right.
We kill each other with war.
We kept domination on so that the
AI has a reason.
Yeah.
So the soothsayers can kill you too. By the way,
we haven't done anything with
that yet. I think if Bob tries to convert me, I'm going to send a soothsayer towards the city out of curiosity.
All right, I'm waiting on your guys' proposals.
The golden calf. Yeah. I'm gonna sing this song. I'm gonna sing Newt, Hanu, Sefti, Sawback,
Ra. Okay, I've got a loading screen.
Hippie Stegosaur
has desynced.
Desynced. Huh?
Give it a minute. You'll come back.
They're reloading to correct the problem.
The problem is, Zach, that whenever you rip a sink out of your bathroom, you can't play Civ 6 anymore.
That's true, because the computer gets too wet.
Yeah, that's right. It just so happens that there is a wire behind the sink, and that wire is part of your Ethernet connection, so sad news for you.
Yeah,
we got it.
It was weird that I installed my my router there next to the drain.
You should have hired my business that I work for, Rely. They
no.
would have helped you out with that.
DIY.
Okay.
I'm not back in yet.
You're not back in yet. Okay.
Well, we're just going to have to move on without you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Have fun with AI, Zach.
That's no fun at all.
It's true. Real life is better than the simulation.
I agree. I will not allow White Owl Clan to be a city-state unless they pay me money.
Okay.
But I will did we get our one eye.
Did we get our stuff passed?
We did.
Yeah. Are you?
Oh,
still
both of them did.
Zach?
Nice. Yeah, I'm back.
You're back in. Excellent. Excellent.
Back.
Okay.
Back from the future.
He's back in the saddle again.
I'm pretty much mostly trading for gold, but I'll do like 2 less gold for some religious pressure if I see it. That's kind of how I'm role playing this.
All right. So Zach, I'm just letting you know that if Bob even attempts to try and like move into Lexington, he's going to get defended by the Golden Calf Guru.
I don't know why Bob would want to move to Lexington, but okay.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't have the faintest idea of why. That's not a place you want to move to. But Berea is not bad if you can find a small local church there and be the worship leader for them.
If they let you. Was that too spicy?
Berea. The most artsy religious city in the world.
Very religious, but like not necessarily orthodoxly Christian.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I be nice and say
they got
that?
churches everywhere, but nobody uses them. I'm sorry. No, I'm not trying to judge.
Well, yeah.
Nice,
so,
nice.
And all of the places where all 3 of us live are all part of the Bible Belt, which has its own, ups and downs. But one of the things that Kara said about Corbin in particular, and I think this is true of a lot of Kentucky, is people, because we were like, people need Jesus even in Corbin, where it's like super religious.
Of course.
Agreed.
Kara said something like, a lot of people in Corbin are very pro the religion that is Christianity. That doesn't necessarily mean that they know or have a good relationship with Jesus. They just know church and church stuff and rah Christian.
It's more about church culture than it is the
There's
actual
a lot
faith
of that,
itself.
yeah, and not everyone, just like anywhere.
Sure.
But I'm sure there's a lot of that here, just as many other places in the Bible Belt, for sure. And I'm not saying that to look down my nose at anybody who's evangelical or anything, but it's very easy to get caught up in the whole culture of it. I think I am out of sync because I just picked 3.
Nope. No, I don't think so, because I was actually waiting on you, and it noticed that you have that you just finished your turn.
Okay. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, so my cities are building things, but if you just put your cursor over it, it says nothing is being produced. But it let me hit next turn, and if you click on the city itself, it'll say mark it 2 turns. But it's got that little gear. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Please don't kick me again. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
A violent storm. No. Where is it?
It is coming up on
Bob.
my city. Yeah.
Well,
actually,
Bob,
I need to rename that one.
Bob, I guess there's something you got to ask yourself. Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? I wonder if a soothsayer said that to you.
No luck indeed, just blessed. For the Lord provides.
Bob,
I shall find refuge underneath Yahweh's tree.
Hang on, wait. A crossbow man just ran into the tornado.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's hilarious.
It's the one eye people.
These are this is Jonas. He's all about the science. Or he doesn't care about the science, he's all about the money. Jonas.
Oh no, Chimeris converted Achen to Confucianism. We must eradicate this new faith. No, I'm good. I say all these different faiths that aren't Christianity is fine with me. Very open about that.
Christianity, you mean Catholicism?
Yeah, the same thing. Oh, Lexington. Yep, it's got a harbor because it's got a big lake near it.
That's Jacobson Park.
There's Stiletto Park that has a lake near it too, I guess. All right, so yeah, Bob, you're just, I hate to say this to you, Bob, because I love you, but outside of character, the golden calf is spreading like wildfire, and I hate to hit you with this, but
spreading like wildfire.
I am. Oh wait, no, dang
everywhere
it.
except
count
Maria.
As a team. We count as a team when we're doing religious stuff. I can't look at my individual score.
Yeah, because that's interesting because I'm not seeing that necessarily. I'm seeing a very different story. I see 3 cities. Is that it? 3, just 3 that are the golden calf.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have all of the tithe money that you have.
Is it counting all our faith per turn together?
Yeah, it is. I didn't force.
It is. What is your all's faith
3
per turn?
Mine's 28 or so.
Okay, I'm not going to say how much mine is, but mine's a lot more than that, Colin. It is not counting us.
Per turn. I know.
Yeah. It's you're actually fairly close. 76.2. Yeah.
I
guess I meant on the religious victory score screen.
Oh, on the religious victory score, that very well might be the case.
We only have one converted thing outside of my evil character here. If I converted half the world and you did, and then you converted all of what I converted, then technically I would have helped you. It would have been like God using like Babylon to like destroy another army, and then like God's people like eventually make the Babylonians.
He did do that.
I know.
Nehemiah and stuff. That's it was the Persians that came in and took out Babylon and then sent the Israelites back.
So I'm gonna thumbs down this because I say no because I like Tamaris. Tamaris is okay with me.
I'm going to thumbs down it just because I don't know how I'm going to be able to stop that. I feel like that if Colin's not going to put any effort towards it, then I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to be able to do much.
Tell our viewers what we're doing because I'm not involved in this one, apparently.
All right, so here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. The way the game works is if you step out and you try and convert people when you're not supposed to, like, for example, if you convert a major city or a holy city, as Bob was talking about earlier, then the game will say, whoa, 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 whoa. That's almost like a heinous act. And the kind of rudimentary UN that we have in this game will allow us to vote on whether or not we should step in as like a world army and do something about it. But only the people that agree that something needs to be done are involved. And if the vote is successful, those people then become sort of a
coalition
force to try and accomplish whatever goal. So in this case,
and you have a time limit. You have a certain number of turns where you either have to do this or they win.
I love when emergencies come against me and people are like, this was not okay. We're going to stop you. Because then whenever they can't stop me, I get a lot, I basically get validated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the game rewards you heavily for that.
What's hilarious about that is basically if you are a successful tyrant, you become loved by all because you get a lot of diplomatic favor for being a successful tyrant. It's like you just destroyed 5 city-states and took a major city from Portugal. How dare you? And I'm like, bring it on. And then nobody stops me. And then they're like, you know what? He was right. He was right to do this. The world has decided you were correct.
# Saladin did nothing wrong.
That's right.
Wow.
That is very right.
Wow.
So right now the situation is the Scythians, I think, converted one of Germany's main cities, if I'm not mistaken.
Weird that I wasn't involved in this. I guess you guys are closer.
Germany is Catholic. That's their main religion, and Scythians are Confucianism. And so Scythians came in with their Confucianism.
And they took Heidelberg.
I'm thinking that both of them could benefit from a little golden calf action. Just love the money, love the idol worship, kind of like, just kind of out in the desert.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Out in the desert waiting on a holy guy that may or may not come down from the mountain. And you're just like, anything goes, baby. Spin the wheel. So I like to live.
So, Colin, have you made your decision?
Yeah, I know. I already voted.
Okay, it's given a please wait. I wasn't sure who was waiting on.
That's where I got stuck before.
The sync again.
Yeah, Hippie Stegosaurus desynced. I got that message.
You know what it is? Jessica turned on the sync just now. I think that's why you desynced. Because only one sync can be on at a time. All right, she turned it off. Yeah, yep, it's loading. It's good. All right, sweet. Jessica and I, when this podcast is over, are going to hop into my new hot tub, and we are just going to chill out there and talk about. We're probably going to read some scripture. I'll be honest, because I need to be inspired to write this new song. For everybody that's listening, this is a sneak peek. This song that I'm going to be doing is going to be a prog song. So if you are familiar with like Dream Theater or Yes or
the capital of Czechoslovakia,
Frost or what's another prog band? Steve Wilson. Mm-hmm. So if you are familiar with any of those, you'll probably get a taste of that. Marillion is another one. It failed. Nobody wanted to hurt the Scythians. They made their choice. One of my favorite things when civilization is like, how dare you try and convert me? You can, instead of saying sorry, you can say, if the Lord wills it, who am I to object? Which to me is hilarious. It's like, who am I to say no to the Lord? And they're like, you son of a gun. All right, Bob, bring it. Let's do something.
Your turn. Please wait. Religious emergency has failed.
Rainy snap.
There we go. Medieval era in 7 turns.
Whoa.
Woo!
My guru was extremely attacked.
Yes, because your guru tried to
where was
attack
this?
my apostle
Over by Jungle Outreach?
Yeah, inside of my own territory.
I can't attack with my guru, Bob.
Then how was he attacked?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because my guru was standing there and your apostle just walked right into it and hurt him. Okay?
You're supposed to be walk into me.
Oh, love thy neighbor. Yeah, okay. Golden Calf sounds a little bit smarter to me now. I'm understanding. Just talked about it. We just talked about love thy neighbor, and you're over here hitting gurus. All they do is have big, long, bushy beards and mustaches and sit on a pillow and tell people how to live their life. You're over here killing them.
Gray beard, pointy
the
hat.
Golden Calf. Yes. Oh, why are you stabbing me? You watch. I'm going to get an apostle, and I'm going to rain hell on you.
That is what apostles do.
It depends if you're a good or a bad one, I guess. Okay. Well, it looks like...
Let's see here. How can I make this work?
I don't know. Stop hurting people, maybe? Stop being evil. Either one will work for me.
So, Zach, you had also posed another question prior to our stream here. What was that question again?
So, I think last time... Was the last episode the one where you actually founded the religion, or did we get that done in the first episode?
I think we barely got that done, and we started at the first episode, and last episode we began the process of spreading it.
So, I guess I was thinking about how in this game, as you form a religion, it gives you certain bonuses, and it kind of like affects how your civilization develops. And so I just wonder, like, for one thing, I guess it would be pretty easy for us to say that Christianity has a role in, like, developing, like, our civilization. Like, you look through history, like, hardly any, like, achievement, you know, ever happened without a Christian behind it. Like, science, you know.
There was a few.
Culture.
But
in
a vast majority of it...
out of Western culture, like, since the vast majority became Christian.
Right.
So, like, what is Christian's role now? And, like, what should Christianity's role be, you know, in, like, kind of like making culture? Because there's, like, these different, do you guys know, like, the 5 different views? I'll have to look these up. Because there's,
I know the
like,
5 different views.
There's, like, Christ,
I know them.
Go ahead and say, Colin.
Okay. From above.
From above.
From below.
From below.
From the side.
From the side. Oh, and Dutch angle while you're at it.
Straight on.
Don't forget Dutch angle.
And from behind. Those are the 5 views. So basically, if you want to view a person, you can't know whether or not they exist in a solipsism format. So what you do is you view them straight forward and say, that's a symmetrical face. You view them from above and say, oh, look, there's their hair. You view them from
like
below.
The Sims.
Say, oh, look, I see underneath their chin. You look from the either
I
side
see underneath
say, oh,
your
look,
chin.
your
I know what you're up to.
And then you stand behind them and you say, yep, and their backside and the back part of their body exists too. This is a real person.
And then you slap that person. You go like, yep, that person can say a lot of things and do a lot of person stuff.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep. So were those the views you were referring to?
You're exactly right.
Okay, good.
Okay, so here's...
Oh my goodness.
So there's these 5 like theological views about like how Christ relates to culture, civilization, whatever. So there's Christ,
Okay.
Christ against culture, Christ of culture, Christ above culture, Christ and culture in paradox, and Christ the transformer of culture.
Okay.
So it's like
That's
so the first one
interesting.
The first one is like Christ against culture would be like, yeah, the world and its cultures, they're all bad. Christ stands out against that. What hath light have to do with darkness? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Christ of culture would say that like Jesus is like embedded in culture, you know. Christ above
I guess
culture,
that would kind of be Christ of culture. You potentially argue that's a lot of the Bible Belt, possibly.
Maybe, yeah. I think you could say that. Christ above culture. I think that's more like he is like kind of separate from it, but still in control of it. Christ in culture and paradox. That's kind of like the two kingdoms kind of thing, where like, you know, Christ exists and culture exists. They kind of like work together, but then they're also kind of against each other. And then Christ the transformer of culture is like where you get, you know, Christians who are like, we're out here just trying to change the culture because that's what Jesus would want us to do. So what are your guys' thoughts?
I definitely got some mixed feelings regarding that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I mean by that, for example, let's see. Oh, Zach, just so you're aware, it's still your turn in the game. But there's definitely a part of me that says we should be transforming the culture.
Yeah.
But then the other part of me says, no, step back. We are not supposed to transform the culture. Christ transforms the culture. And we simply are doing his work, and whatever comes of that comes of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a controversial thing to say.
But does that make sense? The difference between those two?
Yeah,
and because I feel like there's a lot of people who speak as if they are representing Christ,
sure,
and in reality they do so in a very poor way.
Yeah,
but they're religious. Many of them, in many cases, are religious leaders. Maybe not major religious leaders, and sometimes they are major religious leaders. But you know, they claim to be representing Christ, and sometimes I sit back and say that doesn't look like Christ at all. I'm reading the Bible here. That what you're saying, what you're doing, your actions don't seem to align with that, and that's troublesome.
Yeah, I mean we see that all the time because we got fallen human beings. But I guess what I'm kind of getting at is, regardless of like humans that mess it up, do you think that Christ's goal is to like change and like transform culture, or do you think he kind of like works against it until the day where, you know, he comes back and like cleans house? Those are kind of like two different things, you know?
Yeah.
Let me interject something. I think this is going to sound really controversial because I've heard that you're not supposed to try and change culture or anything. You know, when you come in and do mission or anything. But here's my 2 cents. I think that culture that does not involve like Christ is just the world. I know that sounds really bad, but like think about that for a minute. Like you have every country has its different cultures that are built around how they are as a civilization, and we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you're moving more towards like your like what's around you, like I'm not talking about just like the food you eat because that just grows where you live. Like I mean, I'm not talking about that.
Sure.
Talking more about people.
I'm talking about like if you try to make the argument to me that you are a person who like will like can't completely change to the mindedness of Christ because you know there are things about your culture that are just like inundated in you I'm gonna say like, well, then that's kind of a problem because you are too involved with the world and not enough with like trying to be like Christ. I guess I don't know. That sounds like a really controversial thing to say, but like
no, but I think you're definitely onto something because it's about where is our focus as a people. Is our focus trying to change the culture, or is our focus trying to spread the word of God?
Yeah.
Well, like so for example, Babylonians, Assyrians, Romans, the Proto-Greeks or the Persians or any of these people that were ever involved with Israel, they came in with their own culture to try and change the culture of Israel.
Yeah.
The problem with that was that Israel was God's people. And so as a result of trying to change that, God came in and was like, no, not only that, but now like you're going to get wiped out and I'm going to like bring my people back. Now, that's not our job. Our job is not judgment, but so we have to live amongst this culture. But I will say, to me, if you are more concerned with like who you are as like a cultural individual, and your identity is in that, then your identity is not in Christ, which I know is like a hard pill to swallow, because we're not exactly trying to just say like everybody should just forget who they are and just become a Christian, because I know that's like a impossible thing to ask. But I guess it's just something I've been thinking about. Like, to me, culture, the word culture in regards to like where you live and like your community is part of the world. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad if that part of the world is sort of like forming into what God like wants them to be. But if it's just like, yeah, we see God a little differently because we live here and we just kind of do our own thing because that's part of who we are as a culture, I'd be like, but you need to conform though to the image of like what Christ wants you to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to twist people's arm, but it seems like that's
I guess I sort of the mind of like the two kingdoms sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
Tell me about the two kingdoms.
So it's kind of one of the word that they use for it in the 5 views thing is Christ and culture in paradox. So, you know, I think it's true that Christ kind of inhabits like culture and like uses culture to draw people to himself. And I think it's true that like when you become a Christian, you conform to the image of Christ, but you still kind of like, you're not separated from your context of like where you were born and like the people that you're called to and stuff like that. And some of those things are going to be like particulars, but I think that they're not going to ever supersede like what God taught in his word. And so if a culture develops a value that is clearly against scripture, and not to be controversial, but like, for example, it's okay to just choose to murder a baby. That is something that's going to have to change, because that's not just, at that point, that's not just like, well, it's a cultural difference. It's something that like God clearly does not like. But yet at the same time, like, I think that there's things that like we kind of develop as humans, and I think it's because God like made us creative. And but I think also that we're sinful, so we crave power and notoriety and influence, and so people do all kinds of sinful things. They invent new ways to sin almost, trying to, you know, find this influence, find that power. And so that's kind of like one kingdom, but then you got the kingdom of God, like doing something different at the same time. So yeah, I kind of think it's like a paradoxical sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, like, I always want to say that I think that Christ transforms culture. I think in some ways that's true. But I think to some Christians that means that, like, we have to, like, create, like, we have to create, like, some kind of, really powerful, influential church movement sort of thing first for like the kingdom to be at work, and I don't think that that's true at all. One of the one of the things that kind of goes alongside that, I think, is people who are like post-millennial, because post-millennial basically kind of means that like there's going to be a 1,000-year reign of the church, right? And then Christ comes back. And so it's like, you don't have to like make the church like the most powerful like force on earth first for Jesus to come back. Like, I think he's going to come back when he's coming back. But that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's a wild thing to think about. But the thing is that really strikes me, though, is these 5 different viewpoints. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think most people in the West, specifically in America, would view more of there being more just 2.
Yeah.
More Christ in culture and Christ against culture.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Because once again, going back to this idea, this dichotomy, that this either you're with me or you're against me type of mentality Anakin. That is so pervasive to our culture.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's a lot of extremes, because you get people that are like, Christians are just totally need to be separated. The world is bad, and so we're not, let's just like get out of it completely. They're not wrong that the world is bad, by the way.
Sure.
But, we're also called to be among the people and show them, be salt and light, right? But then you kind of get this other extreme where it's like Christ is so much a part of culture, he's like almost not any different. Like, you get the people where Christ just conforms to whatever the new trendy, thing is, whether it's like a social movement or a trend, Jesus just fits into all that. So,
to be clear, it's not just that Christ is conforming; it's their view of Christ.
Yes,
conforms. The faith they have in Christ conforms to whatever the latest trend is.
I think what they think, maybe, to read into like what people have said, I think that they see like whatever newish trend is out there, and they see some good and some value in it, and they misinterpret that to think like, well, that must be Jesus working, because I clearly think this is really good, so it must be good.
And that's always a dangerous thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I think it's good, therefore it must be good. That gets real dangerous real quick.
But you can go back to Jeremiah and see that the heart is deceitful above all things. Yeah, I keep going to the loading screen and coming back. And I don't know if we've lost Colin.
No, you haven't lost me.
Okay.
Bob is trying to get rid of the golden calf, though, so I guess I'm going to have to go to war with Bob.
Yeah, you guys are probably going to have to duke it out.
Probably. I don't play. Stop playing with my phone.
Tomiris likes that I'm gaining more gold.
Yeah, she likes that about me as well, I guess.
I want the gold. I want the gold. Give me the gold.
Give me the gold.
Give me the gold. I want the gold. How many of y'all seen the leprechaun say yeah?
Oh.
Bob, if you strike me down, I should become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. So just remember that.
Okay, I will remember that, Colin. I'll remember.
Please do.
Where's the religious combat happening? I keep missing it.
Bob is trying to kill all of my my people, and he just converted my my holy city to his like.
Oh,
wait! You're
back
holy
to the
city's
Pantheon.
Lancaster?
No, my holy city's Richmond.
Well, I haven't converted it. I made.
You've eradicated you're trying to eradicate the religion.
I am trying to convert it, but I have not converted it. I have removed it so that neither one of us are so that you are no longer the dominant religion, but I have not taken over that dominancy either.
Potato, potato.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you're speaking. Yeah.
Here. 2 turns, 5 turns. Okay. Oh. Sweet. Bring it on, Colin. Bring it on.
I said, please don't. I'm asking you not to. You can either be tyrant or not. I mean,
tyrant. Tyrant. Who's the tyrant?
What
are you talking about? What tyrant?
Am I invading your country? No.
I'm not seeing a war taking place here. I mean, our leaders are at peace with one another. We're on the same team.
We are simply discussing
what are you talking about?
Philosophies and religions together peacefully while raining down lightning.
I really truly hope that somehow, because I can't, because we're on the same team. I truly hope that somehow an emergency goes against you and I can vote yes on it.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome.
I don't know how that would work. I bet I probably couldn't vote on it if it was a thing.
It says, please wait.
Yeah.
I guess this would be a good place to maybe start wrapping up. Maybe a turn.
Probably.
So, okay.
So one thing that you had mentioned, Zach, previously was talking about the role that religion plays, specifically Christianity plays, in shaping a civilization.
Yes.
And you take it more of the perspective of culture itself, which I found interesting. But I'd actually prepared for this, and with the idea of more like taking it more from a much broader.
Oh wider, yeah, there's all kinds of other,
like the actual development of the West, for example, and the role that Christianity played in that.
Yeah, I think. I don't know anybody who wouldn't say that Christianity didn't play like a huge role in the development of the West.
Mm-hmm.
But we can definitely get into more specifics about that if you want to.
Yeah. Well, I found it really interesting when I was researching that a lot of anthropologists tend to credit Christianity and its unique perspective on faith as being a major reason for the development of the West the way that it has.
Yeah.
That is to say that, for example, the scientific method came about primarily because of the way that the way that Christianity views the world, which was unique from all others. Because the bigger question is, why didn't it develop in some place like China?
Right.
Because China scientifically was much more developed than the West for centuries.
Yeah.
Centuries upon centuries. And yet somehow the West took off. And the primary reason behind it stems from what appears to be a few significant things. And that being the fact that, for example, as more intercontinental development and communication was taking place, China took on more of a stance of developing faculties that were guarding against Western ideas as opposed to exploring scientific development.
Sure. Instead of like
or what
trying to do their own development, they're like, no, let's isolate from this. This is bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
and make sure that everyone's conforming to in this era the more Confucius ideas.
Yeah.
And likewise, the more intellectual forms of of thought in the Middle East were much more focused around religious institutions.
Yeah.
And the Muslim part of the world, and so you see more of that happening as opposed to scientific development. Now, the Muslims did give us our form of numeric understanding, our numeric work. The number system that we use today is the Aramaic system, which a lot of people don't realize that. So, I mean, that doesn't to say there wasn't development at all happening, it was very, very limited in what it was going on.
You don't get so far with Roman numerals.
Yes, but where the West, under the Western ideas, the Judeo-Christian perspective held a viewpoint that God is systematic and orderly, and as a result of that, you saw a belief develop that, well, if it is systematic and orderly, then I should be able to see that systematic and orderliness throughout his creation. And thus we began studying his creation, and out of that came, well, essentially the scientific method.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering about that, like how much the actual Christian worldview has to do with like the development of all that stuff, like our advances. Because I do think there's a couple...
And so you get Galileo and Copernicus out of that.
Yeah. There's a couple things about the biblical worldview that I think are like really important when it comes to the basis for all this stuff. One, I think, is like the establishment of truth. Like even like way back in the Old Testament, you know, it says like the... Where is that verse where it's like the truth will be established on 2 or more witnesses or something? Truth shall be established. Well, it's actually from the New Testament. Wait, no. Yeah, it's in Proverbs too. Proverbs 12:19.
Everybody's stealing from Proverbs.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good book to quote from.
Jesus and Paul and all of them just like, oh, hey, I made this up. No, you didn't. Proverbs did.
But there's a lot of like, the Bible talks about truth a lot, and you know, I think having like having a solid basis of like verifying and like finding out objective truth, I think is something that's unique to the Christian worldview. I also think just like reason and like order, like you were talking about, Bob. You know, God is a God who creates things. He's not a God of chaos. Whereas like forces of nature that we see in the world are very chaotic, you know. God is set apart from those. Like pantheistic religions, you know, like Hinduism and stuff, like all God is like part of nature and he's like all around. He's like, you know, literally part of the world, like the wind and the thunderstorm, like that's all God.
Sure.
Crom laughs at your four
Crom laughs at your four winds.
Which it's a kind of interesting you bring up like the pantheons, because you know Rome obviously was more of a pantheonic culture, and so but the West, our legal system is very heavily based on Roman legal system, which was not formed around a single dogma because there was no single religious text by which to form their laws for a theocracy out of. And so as a result, the law system that developed tend to be much more gave empowerment more to the average human, with laws based more on reason and not religious dogma. And which as a result gave a lot of our culture more empowerment to develop things, which then bled into our other ideals. It's that empowerment of the individual that really began to shape the Western culture to begin to explore scientific realms. That's not to say there wasn't opposition. I mean, Copernicus, for example, was very much persecuted by the church itself, and yet he trusted it was his faith in God that led him to his discoveries from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's kind of like a misconception that like Copernicus was this like skeptical guy that was just all about science and not about faith, and then he was persecuted by just the church. Like, it's actually like two different groups of Christians. Ones who ones who had latched on to like a more dogmatic idea versus, Copernicus kind of exploring and a different model of the solar system.
So, real quick here, Colin, I need you to take a look at your religious lens and tell me where exactly is this golden calf religion focused in again?
So,
because I'm having a hard time finding it.
So I looked it up on Google and I just got Golden Corral.
I've got a few left. I'll take you on.
I'm not seeing I'm just not sure where this religion is at. I mean, where it's even located. Can you help me find it?
You know what was weird, Bob? I couldn't attack your guy. I'm not sure why I couldn't. It's weird. You seem to be able to attack my religious units, but I can't attack yours.
Not exactly. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's like I want my guy to move in this direction, and therefore it attacks yours. But like if I want to just straight up attack your guy, it won't let me do that.
Yeah. Anyway, I could have killed your apostle just then.
Not killed. And I was just walked through.
And it wouldn't let me walk. It wouldn't let me walk to your guy. It was weird.
Yeah, I'm not fully understanding it either, Colin. In all honesty,
it's cool.
It's a weird situation where we're on the same team, but have different religions.
But it's okay. It's fine.
Religions in conflict.
We just for the realism aspect of it. Okay, so after this turn, you know what? No, I should go ahead and save it. Let's save.
We're calling it.
Save where we are?
Yeah, we should go ahead and save because I need to go.
Gotcha.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You guys rule. We will continue soon, and we will get back to the old podcast stuff next time.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great.
All right. Peace.
See you, boys. Bye-bye.